The first topic is why why we have the fractal instance and why we built on fractal. Actually, before the mainnet launched, we didn't think of that. We actually because of ordinals, like I said, we can have a better ordinals experience on fractal to mitigate what happens on Bitcoin mainnet to have it scaled. But after that, we received some proposals about is it possible that we can enable upcat on Fractal? And we evaluate that idea and we did some modification to the core software to make that happen. The only thing we worried about is that this kind of modification breaks the compatibility with the core software so that we cannot, in the long term, communicate with the mainnet in the same manner. But after a deep research on this, we actually we know that it happens only in the conditional script path under the taproot, so it doesn't hurt it that way. So the mainnet and fractal mainnet can still communicate in the same way to what happens on both chains. So we did that modification and have the opcat enabled, and we have a lot of applications working in that way. So, but that's only one use case of what happens on Fractal. There could be much more experiments to be enabled on Fractal in a very careful way to make sure that Fractal still being compatible with Bitcoin mainnet. So if people ask, is it a fork from Bitcoin Core? We answered actually no, because we want to maintain this level of compatibility. If we don't think it this way, we are creating another Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV. It's not what we are going to do to have an isolated ecosystem. We want to grow and evolve with Bitcoin Core in a parallel way so that in the future, both of them could become a system that scales systematically. That's the intention, and it has to be maintained. So yeah. So here are some developer benefits that is native Bitcoin and is 20 times faster confirmation to make the blocks developer friendly, and it has a much lower transaction costs, and it's scalable for internet scale applications because it has numerous layers and instances. Actually, we are experimenting with different instances with different parameters after the main instance happened in September. But we are actually very conservative on this, how to do it in the right way. We are still experimenting with it. Yeah. So initially in September, the last month, we enabled support to these protocols. All of them are on mainnet, and the BRC20 protocol, the Ruins protocol, both of these two protocols, there are slightly modifications to them to make sure that assets natively happening on Fractal are compatible with what we have on mainnet, so they don't conflict. They are carefully crafted so that they can be compatible. And in a way that if we have a bridge, we bridge mainnet assets onto Fractal, the bridged assets won't conflict with the native assets, and the things can be bridged back in that way. So it's carefully crafted in that way to make sure the protocol, there are minimal protocol level change. So yeah, that happens last month. And the ordinals, the original protocol, we didn't do too much modification to it. What it happens on Bitcoin main happens on Fractal. And there are, let me count, there are more than 200 million inscriptions, ordinals inscriptions on Fractal, and there are 76 million on Bitcoin mainnet. So there are much more inscriptions happening on Fractal. And we are to this, we are currently enhancing our indexing infra to make sure that we index them in a more efficient way so that we can turn the whole inscriptions into a content library and content creators who can utilize that in a way that just like what happens on their hard disk. That's what we call the indexing 2.0, so that we can index the whole index all inscriptions so that people can easily use it. Yeah, that's based on our works on Bitcoin mainnet. And since it's much, it's very cheap to create inscriptions on Fractal than on Bitcoin. So people tend to create more content, and we can build complicated things, words, to reuse them recursively and recreate more content on this. So it can become a huge a virtual world. So it's a way that we support ordinals. And the new protocol called CAT20 is actually a purely miner verified assets on Bitcoin for the first time, because by utilizing the opcat, the operator, uh, I don't know, it has drawbacks. Uh, it has a lot of drawbacks, but it works in a way that it doesn't need an indexer anymore. All of the code logic are verified by miners. The primary advantage to this is uh, you currently you have an easy verified way to embed your business logic onto that. For example, on BRC20, when you mint after it reaches the maximum, the upper limit, it's still a valid inscription. It's still a valid